as per usual, we can't forget the sponsors of the league. We'd like to thank and recognize CB Foods, the Jamaica Football Federation, the Ministry of Sports, the Social Development Foundation, and Admiral Lockery for their invaluable support. And let's not forget our club sponsors, JN Money, Fosco Oats, Powerhead, VM Group, iCrew, Sunshine Stacks, Chemtech Development and Construction Company, and Surgical Life, helping to make this league possible. And as we get set for kickoff, we want to remind all fans that while we support our teams with passion and pride, we must also respect the game. Please refrain from using offensive language towards players, coaches, and match officials. And remember, throwing of any objects on the field of play is strictly prohibited. Let's keep the J, Ray, and Nephew Jamaican Premier League safe and enjoyable for everyone. It's Waterhouse taking on Tivoli Gardens. It is Kingston 20 welcoming West Kingston. And I'm seeing a very focused captain of the home team, Kimani Campbell. Waterhouse, Tivoli Gardens, coming up. Waterhouse, Tivoli Gardens.
Beside me, I have Legee Williams. Legee, what are your thoughts on tonight's match?
Well, I'm looking forward to what tends to be a very competitive one. Waterhouse taking on Tivoli Gardens, and these two teams have helped to shape the Jamaica Premier League, especially since the turn of the 21st century, and they're looking to continue striving into that direction despite the competitiveness across the league, and they're both looking to take a step to solidify their place, albeit maybe temporarily inside the top six, but 3 points would go a long, long way for both of these team seasons tonight.
Entering the clash as we scrutinize the game.
To the Grand Emperor, Virginia Beer, ICWI, and of course, the National Bakery.
Currently sixth in the league, but depending on results tonight, they could be surpassed by Cavalier, who have a game in hand. Waterhouse, the host, they'll definitely be looking to really establish a foothold in those playoff positions. But as we mentioned before, they're going to be without their main man tonight up front, and they are a team that have struggled for goals. But who are the players you'll be looking to, who you think could step up and fill that gap?
Yeah, I think when you're speaking about Waterhouse and all of the attacking quality that they have, it's really just about sharing the load. Obviously, they would have brought in Cardell Bembo in the January transfer window. Javane Bryan, a former Golden Boot winner in this league, scored in the last game that Waterhouse would have won against Dumbo Holding. So he's supposed to be in good nick. it's still a new system. It's still something they're getting used to from their new coach. So there's obviously that to be taken into consideration as well. But I think for Waterhouse, it's all about sharing the attacking load. Barrow has settled in relatively well also. So it's just all about sharing the load and see where they can get goals, where it can come, because they haven't been necessarily prolific since their new head coach has come in.
Most definitely, but as we mentioned before, based on form, they may not be scoring many goals, but they're getting results. And as you mentioned, Barrow, I believe he scored recently against Mount Pleasant in a 1-0 win. So they definitely have shown that despite the, shall we say, profligacy, they're still able to get goals when they matter. Of course, as we look now to Tivoli Gardens, they have some scoring woes of their own outside of Nicalia Fuller, who we know to be a special talent. They have struggled in their own right, but it promises nonetheless to be a great game between two teams that are really trying to solidify their place among the elite in Jamaican football. But we can just turn our attention to results that happened elsewhere today. Of course, this is the feature game tonight. We can just look ahead to, of course, the fact that Spanish Town versus Harbourview. Spanish Town pulled off a huge upset as they beat Harbourview 1-0. Chapelton Maroons, they of course played Treasure Beach. The Chapelton Maroons winning 2-0 and temporarily supplanting Cavalier. Here as we watch the players come out onto the pitch, signaling that it's almost game time. Racing United chasing down the league leaders still. 1-0 win with a late winner. Mount Pleasant, of course, as well, also moved into third thanks to a moving into third place after a win today in Stumpleholden. 4-0 win with 3 substitutes coming onto the pitch and scoring. Of course, Montego Bay United as well, league leaders, also managed to grind out the result thanks to 9th goal of the season, I believe, from Dwight Merrick. But as we return back to the action in this game, promises to be an exciting one, and we might well just see a moment of magic from that man, the number 10, Nicalia Fuller. Of course, we saw just that a couple of weeks ago in his amazing free kick against Cavalier to start the comeback in that eventual 2-1 win. But the number 10, Denardo Thomas from Waterhouse, could also have something to say in regards to deciding this game. But anything can happen in the brand new Jamaican Premier League. Remains to be seen just what will happen, but stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen.
FIFA referee, O'Shea Nation and his assistant. He's assisted by FIFA assistant referees, O'Shea Duaney and Kedley Powell. And the fourth official is Karen Wilson. The match commissioner is Martin Lane. And the assessor is O'Neill Fullerton. It's Waterhouse taking on Tivoli Gardens right now.
My apologies, that was Nick. As we see Tivoli Gardens just finishing up their huddle, that signals the game is about to start. just about a minute away from the scheduled time. And as the G mentioned, Cardell Benbow looking fit, primed and ready to make an impact, of course, in the place of their main man. Javane Bryan, of course, as you mentioned before, also a danger. Could very well have a deciding say in this game with a goal or two. But the referee looks at his watch, and it will be Tivoli Gardens who kickstart this game. Of intent already from Tivoli.
Yeah, and that's what Tivoli do so well, break from back to front with extreme quickness. They have the players to exploit space in behind, and I think especially coming up against this Waterhouse team that have switched to a three at the back system, there will be spaces in the wide areas for Tivoli to exploit. It's just about how well they can execute against this very fresh Waterhouse team. Yeah, he elevated to try and win a header early in the game, and ever since landing has been feeling looks like some sort of lower body injury, but I assume that he'll be fine to continue. So too the Tivoli Gardens number 1, Nicholas Clark. He's back up and going, and early in this contest, first stoppage. I assume we'll see quite a bit of those.
As Clark is back on his feet, he is about to resume play for the men in orange and black. And clears downfield, looking towards Nelson, but that's beyond him, and that will go straight all the way through for Akeem Bernard. Waterhouse is playing out from the back here. Lovely pass by Clark out to Davis, out wide. He has space and time on the right-hand side. Cuts back, looking for Benbow, unable to find him, and that's cleared. No danger there, and Waterhouse can just deal with that clearance quickly.
Yeah, I mentioned earlier that Tivoli will be looking to exploit spaces in wide areas. It will be the same for Waterhouse. Both teams playing a similar three at the back system, although Waterhouse have a greater emphasis on width. You can see Martin Davis holding his line, and he receives the ball now.
And here's Davis. Tried to whip across in at the last moment, and he's pointed to the spot. The referee, from this angle, I couldn't really tell if that was an handball, but it appears to have been. And just this early into the game, we already have a penalty. Leji, your thoughts?
Yeah, he seemed a bit cheeky there, Alton Lewis, as he tried to come across. Martin Davis took an extremely heavy touch as he burst into that space that we were just speaking about. And Alton Lewis, I'm not quite sure if it was a handball. I'm not quite sure
Competition.
What the referee saw.
League is yet again,
And the assistant
to be a great one.
is pretty close to the scene. And it does look as if the penalty will stand. And it also does look as if it will be Cardell Benbow tasked with possibly giving Waterhouse a very early lead in this game.
The referee was adamant in his decision, immediately pointed to the spot. And as you mentioned, Benbow now has the chance to step up and make it 1-0 for Waterhouse here early into this game. Benbow.
And he has put a very early exclamation point in this game. Pretty much the first real attack we've seen in the game. Handball called against Alton Lewis, and Cardell Benbow, with all his experience, all the cool that he has in front of goal, he has given Waterhouse a lead. And what we expected to be a tight contest, this early goal might open things up a bit.
Most definitely, but some commendation must be given to Davis. Of course, the goal, the glory will go to Benbow, but Davis has been pretty good so far. His width has been a problem for Tivoli and it led to that penalty decision.
Yeah, all tactical that one. It was Nikolai Fuller who was a bit late in tracking his man back. And once he gives someone that much space in a wide area, always going to be difficult to defend. And speaking of difficult to defend, it's Nikolai Fuller over a free kick early here.
Free kick taken. Not able to find the head of a teammate, but bouncing around now. That will be headed clear by Amos. Simpson. Garnett trying to find his man out wide. Is able to keep it in play? No. And that will be a throw-in to Waterhouse.
Yeah, and Tivoli, I'm sure, will look at that as a wasted opportunity as well. It was an excellent delivery as per usual from Fuller. And there was a bit of miscommunication in the box, but Waterhouse, they survived that attack. I'm sure it won't be the last one in this game, or at least in this first half as well.
Flick on there for Leacock. And he tries to find the goal scorer, Benbow. But he loses possession and Tivoli can move forward, but they eventually win a free kick in the middle of the park. Janoy Williams restarts play and finds Fuller. He turns away from Brian expertly. Unfortunately, though, his pass inaccurate. Flick on there to Thomas. Benbow, nice little touch there. Campbell leaves it for Thomas. And some brilliant football being played now at the moment by Waterhouse. The oohs and the ahs from the crowd agree with my sentiment. Ball played there into Barrow, but his touch lets him down. And the clearance will only go so far, and Waterhouse can now regroup. It's Dyer trying to play it into Benbow, but not the most accurate of passes. But Dyer wins the ball back for Waterhouse, but the referee judges that to be a foul. Tivoli trying to get on the front foot there as early as possible, trying to find Fuller, but referee says that was taken a bit too quickly for his liking.
Yeah, and Tivoli trying to get a foothold in this game. You mentioned the quality of passes that we've seen from Waterhouse so far early in this game. It seems as if week on week the tactical imprint of their new head coach has continued to bear fruit.
Lewis looking long for Simpson. The skipper unable to get to that one, but judging by the pace on the ball, I doubt Usain Bolt could have gotten to that one. And that will be a goal kick to Waterhouse.
Of course, something that we have to make notice of is that it is somewhat of a makeshift Tivoli backline. No Barrington Price in their lineup today, someone who has been an anchor for their defensive setup for years on end. So still some figuring out to do, but unfortunately for them, they haven't had much time to figure things out. They're already behind in this game.
The ball played out there. Leacock finds Benbow, trying to get that up from his feet, but unable to, and now it's Fuller from Nelson. Fuller still on the ball, under some duress, and actually loses out to Leacock, who does well to keep the ball in play there. Eventually loses out himself to Nelson. Back to Nelson. Cross comes in, but seems the ball went out there, and that will be a goal kick to Waterhouse.
I think it was actually the offside flag up on the far side. Tivoli finding themselves in a pretty tight area over there on the left-hand side, and it works out in the favor of Waterhouse.
Shackwell Henry just pushing forward a bit there, trying to supply some chances for Tivoli, but here's Benbow trying to do the same. Back to Martin Davis. Plays it into the path rather of Benbow. Cross comes in, and a good clearance from Clark, but back to, oh, good shot there by Brian, but a bit too high.
Yeah, was rushed and hurried before taking that shot. Always goes going to be difficult for him to place that one on target. But once again, the width of Waterhouse causing Tivoli so much issues, and they win it back high once more, only to give it up again. And here comes Anthony Nelson, who can't quite bring that one under his spell, and Shamari Dyer does well to find Bembo, who again finds Martin Davis free on the right side.
Davis trying to beat Lewis, instead looks for Thomas. Back to Davis, taking on the defenders, driving at the defense, squeeze it off for Benbow, crosses in, come in, but couldn't find the head of Barrow there. But here's Fuller, can kickstart a counter-attack for Tivoli into the feet of his teammate, but unable to bring it under his spell, Shaquille Henry there. And Waterhouse can now regroup with Worrell. Here's Dyer out on this right-hand side into the path of Davis, who I thought was going to foul. Oh, it seems that Lewis has gone for goal from distance, but not able to, I guess, manifest the vision that he had in his head there. Perhaps saw the goalkeeper off his line or something, but ultimately to no avail, that shot.
Yeah, it was quite an audacious one, but certainly not accurate enough to cause any problems for Akeem Bernard.
It's Brian doing his defensive duties there. And Leacock fouled in the process as he dribbled past the Tivoli player there, and that will be a free kick to Waterhouse. Taken quickly, and now here's Denardo Thomas on the ball. Plays it out wide to Dyer. Benbow trying to find Davis, but the pass is blocked by Simpson.
It's the same pattern of play time and time again for Waterhouse.
Barrow's shot there, saved expertly by Nicholas Clark. Find to Henry. Most definitely they've been quite unable to really deal with that threat of Davis down that right-hand side. Not dissimilar to something we see in the NBA, where they do a play called drive and kick. They've been drawing in the defenders with the driving runs, particularly from Shamari Dyer, and just dispatch. Out wide is Thomas. Tries to switch the play, and he does. Finds Dyer out on that right-hand side. Finds Benbow, the goal scorer, of course. Loses the ball to Simpson. Benbow's lost the ball on quite a few occasions already in this game.
And I think a lot of that is down to where he's receiving the ball as well. As Waterhouse drive through Denardo Thomas.
Thomas lays it off for Davis yet again. Cross comes in. No one able to meet it. Yes, they have. On Barrow. Hits the bar after the skipper, Kimani Campbell, laid it off for him on a platter, really. That should have been a goal. That should have been 2-0.
Yeah, no idea how it hasn't doubled the lead for Waterhouse in this game. It was excellently worked once more. It was an enterprise and drive from Denardo Thomas. He drove through the middle of the pitch, found a pass out wide to guess who? Martin Davis once more. And once he was cut back after going to the left-hand side, you expected their number 29 to find his second goal for Firehouse. But luckily for Tivoli, they survive, at least for now, as that corner is repelled initially.
Benbow wins the ball back for Waterhouse, but despite the pressure he was under there, somehow managed to retain position. Dyer, Thomas, Amos. Some great defensive work by Amos.
Yeah, and it was very necessary work as well, but these set pieces, as we know, are key points for Tivoli. It could be a very key way as well that they can get back into this game, because from open play it has been dominated by Waterhouse.
Tivoli Gardens, as we mentioned before, one of the top teams in the league, not necessarily great at scoring goals, and they'll be looking for some sort of help in that regard from this corner kick.
And if you ever wanted an example of the quality technically of Nikolai Fuller, here he is taking a in-swing corner kick with his left foot, his weaker side, but I'm sure you won't be able to tell by this upcoming delivery.
And it is an exquisite one, able to be met by his teammates? No, but there are shouts of handball, turned away by the referee. And Benbow trying to push it ahead of Lewis. Dangerous back pass, but not able to capitalize. And Benbow actually gone to ground in pain here. Seems he's pulled something. Back into this. Being second best for much of this first half. They'll be hoping that they can get back into it. And Nikolai Fuller just giving some instructions to his teammates as the leader and talisman that he is. Seems Simpson's also gone over some thoughts on the upcoming game tomorrow between Arnett Gardens and Portmore.
Yeah, I think that's a game similar in stature to this one that we currently have on display. I think that Arnett Gardens and Portmore are two teams that are striving to recapture the Jamaica Premier League title, and that's always going to be the case for them. As we have confirmation of the substitution for Waterhouse, it's going to be Cardell Bembo making his leave. Jesus Abraham Murillo Godino will be making his entrance. So maybe a slight shuffle, as Godino is more of a holding player. We'll have confirmation of where he will set up when Waterhouse settle once more as Fuller prepares to take another corner kick.
Corner comes in, beats him. Oh, and Lewis from point blank range has booted that over the stadium, and quite frankly, I am shocked. That looks certain to be 1-1.
I would say I'm shocked, but based on what we've seen so far in this game, it seems as if there's a little bit of a juju over both goals, because we've already seen Barrow miss one and we're saying that was unbelievable. Maybe that Anton Lewis one was even more egregious. Wow.
The fans themselves also voicing their displeasure with that missed opportunity. Ball over the top here for Brian, but Lewis, who really squandered that opportunity doing his defensive duties. Of course, that's what he's best at. And that will be a throw into Tivoli.
Yeah, and
I'm still not over that chance.
Yeah, two massive chances to get even more goals in this game. Alton Lewis, I'm sure he would have been so pleased to see that Barrow had missed his, but he really should have taken that chance to fire Tivoli back into this game.
Simpson back to Lewis. Clears, but only as far as Thomas. Spins into pressure, but does well to get it off before pressure arrived. Davis. And the substitute Mario Godinho almost muscled off it, but eventually won a throw in.
Yeah,
now he's Dyer.
He will be operating more in that holding role alongside now Leacock, as Denarda Thomas is now in the forward line, and that's going to be a foul. Was being held for quite some time by Cavan Wilson. Was Barrow.
And it seems Barrow's holding this one in place for Kimani Campbell potentially to take. We know he has the ability from set pieces. And the skipper just playing a bit further forward than I'm used to seeing him. But quite a versatile player, able to do a job, and he could potentially even do a job here from this free kick, doubling their lead potentially.
From my Waterhouse true and true player, Sean Lawrence.
Barrow just giving some instructions there to Thomas. Could we see potentially a intricate set play here, straight from the training ground? Or could it be just a traditional shot? Referee blows his whistle. Campbell to take. Instead it's Barrow. Straight into the wall. Low and hard, but inaccurate. And the shot following that is the opposite. High. And never really going to trouble the goalkeeper from there.
Yeah, Tivoli look to get play back on the way quickly as possible, but it's a loose pass from Janoy Williams. Quite surprised we didn't see Kimani Campbell try and take that one on. The skipper, but Barrow, certainly, especially after missing that earlier chance, looking for a reprieve and a chance to get a goal in this game.
Nelson felt he was fouled there, but the referee disagrees and play continues. Ooh, a missed kick there from Akeem Bernard, and it seems he's going to give away a corner kick, but kept it in play. Amos boots it upfield. Waterhouse unnecessarily putting themselves under pressure there, but now here's Denardo Thomas driving at Janoy Williams. Beats him somehow, and he's continuing. Oh, the pass went awry, but Barrow plays it into Davis, who's been troubled all night. Takes it wide of his defender, but runs out of space there. Could have crossed that a bit earlier. And Clark boots it upfield, looking for Fuller, as always. And that's dealt with quite comfortably by Dyer. Back to Akeem Bernard, who is beginning to worry the Waterhouse fans with his play at the back there. His shot there from distance, but blocked quite easily. Now here's Williams again. Ooh, and that's won back quite easily by Thomas, but referee blows, and that will be an infringement and a foul the way of Tivoli.
Yeah, it's been a really shaky few minutes for Akeem Bernard. It has prompted a real end-to-end feel to this game now. Almost like a tennis match, the ball is bouncing from end to end for both teams. Another set piece opportunity now for Tivoli Gardens as Nikolai Fuller once lines up this set piece. It'll be a free kick, one which he will aim to whip in with his right foot, more of an out-swinging delivery.
And judging by the onshore, the instability really surrounding Bernard, we could even see him go for goal from here. Who to tell with the ability that this young man has. Referee just giving some instructions in terms of the players involved around the edge of the area there. And Amos just instructing his back line as to where to stand to defend this set piece as Fuller gets ready to take. Free kick comes in, and he does go for goal, but not able to get it on target there.
Yeah, struck it ferociously, the Nikolai Fuller. We know that he can strike them well from those acute angles as well. And I think he was following your suggestion of testing Akeem Bernard, who has looked quite shaky over the past few minutes, but unable to test him on that occasion as Waterhouse survive yet another set piece infringement as referee Shane Nation now makes Akeem Bernard's day even worse. And now has a yellow card to his name. It's been quite a tumultuous 30 minutes or less for Waterhouse's number 40.
Bernard clears it downfield, looking towards Barrow, unable to find him. Now is Henry. That's booted by Amos. And not sure what he saw there, but that will be a throw in to Waterhouse. And the linesman is actually pointed towards Bernard, who probably is following the lead there of Simpson earlier, who went down just to give his team some reprieve. Bernard just could be trying to give his team just some time to cool down. They of course have been under pressure, much to his own doing really, over the last couple of minutes, and they'll be wanting some time to regroup here. Waterhouse, of course, if you're just joining with us, have taken the lead in this fixture against Tivoli Gardens at home. thanks to a calm finish from the spot from Cardell Benbow, who unfortunately had to be substituted after pulling his hamstring. As Bernard continues to get some what looks to be treatment, we must say a thank you for all those tuning in here to the Jamaican Premier League, the Ray and Nephew Jamaican Premier League. A big thank you to the sponsors who make this night possible for all Jamaican fans, not just locally but those overseas in the diaspora, to tune in to this wonderful league. And the players come out now to resume play.
Tivoli have been growing in the game for the past few minutes or so, but a lot of that has been down to mistakes. What?
Couldn't prevent it from being a... Chested into the path of Nelson, who has Worrell, trying to find Henry. But the ball somehow bubbles up, fortunately, for Dyer to clear, and Waterhouse remain unscathed despite a number of unforced errors.
Unforced is certainly the right word to use there. And Tivoli are certainly in the ascendancy because of said unforced errors.
Watson to take this throw in. Not... Oh, it was headed on by Williams, but and then kicked by Williams himself, but not accurately, and that will be a goal kick for Waterhouse. Tivoli at least putting some pressure on the goal of Akeem Bernard, but nothing really is yet to test him. We'll see just how good he is with his hands. We know he's not the best with his feet, at least from what he's shown thus far tonight. Now here's Kimani Campbell at the other end. Wins a throw in for his team. And Amos will be venturing forward to take this throw. It's been the first time in a while, really, that we've seen Waterhouse this deep into Tivoli's half. And now here's Thomas. Back to Worrell. And the return pass from Thomas there, not the best, and that will be a throw into Tivoli. Watson trying to find Nelson, but that's headed away. And now here's Thomas, he has space. Dyer. Ooh, poor touch there by the substitute Godinho, but Leacock, lovely bit of skill to get past his man, and he's fouled in the process, and just earning some respite for his team, coming under pressure, as you mentioned before, in the middle of the park there. But this time the challenge was not successful and will be a foul.
Yeah, struggled to get up to the pace of the game, Murillo, since coming on. Always a difficult place to come on in the middle of the park, in the engine room, especially with Tivoli more with a tighter press as Dyer tries across, which is repelled by Alton Lewis. And here comes Tivoli once more.
And he's still going and leaves the ball for Nelson, who does well to shield the ball there, tries to find Fuller. He does. Can he swing from here? Gets past one, gets past two, gets past another. Eventually loses the ball to Amos, but another display there from Fuller of his ability on the ball, but perhaps after beating the second player could have had a go.
Yeah, it was always going to be difficult for him to get that shot off, however, because of those Waterhouse bodies retreating quickly. But this time they're going forward quickly, as you said. Here's Barrow.
Thomas, I think he was looking for Brian, but unable to find him, and Simpson comes clear. Henry, lovely ball over the top. Tivoli has several numbers forward, but unfortunately not able to capitalize, and Michael Graham's pass was not accurate there. Henry Oh, lovely turn. Sat down Leacock. Shot from distance as well. Unfortunately, wasn't on target. But what about that turn?
Yeah, fantastic skills showed there by Shaquille Henry. His stature in this game has been growing slowly as well. The man that came over from Portmore United in the January transfer window, certainly laying a stake here in this Tivoli team. Tough challenge coming in from Javane Bryan as Waterhouse still struggle to get any sort of foothold in this game. It's been all Tivoli, I would say, for the last 25 minutes plus.
Lewis. Oh, poor pass there to Murillo. Dyer. Godinho to Bryan. And a hand to the face by Fuller will actually earn him a yellow card. And not the sight that Tivoli fans will want to see. Of course, for those who understand basic football knowledge, that does mean that he's going to have to walk the tightrope here for the rest of the game. And it'd be a shame to lose their star man. Here's Bryan. Pass, wayward, but Davis rather whipped in across, but despite the difficulty in terms of gauging where it was going to fall, Clark eventually does claim and boots it downfield. But here's Leacock regaining possession for Harbourview. Thomas tried to flick it on for a teammate there, but despite the shove in the back, due to the shove in the back rather, flicking on wasn't accurate. But now here's Simpson for Tivoli Gardens. Trying to find Nelson, and he does, but couldn't quite control it as though he wanted. And that will be a throw-in back to Tivoli. Oh, what a turn by Fuller, but eventually loses out to Murillo. Campbell. Ooh, not the best of clearances. And Bernard's made a mistake yet again. And Tivoli have equalized. It was coming, wasn't it?
Yeah, it certainly was. Miscommunication between him and his centre back. It looks as if it was Rashawn Amos who backed into him as he was coming to receive that miscued clearance. And Tivoli, after plugging away and trying to find a way, it's been Waterhouse who has been gifting them chance after chance. And as I said, it was coming, and it was Anthony Nelson, Tivoli's leading goal scorer from last season, finding the back of the net.
It's locked at 1-1 again.
And you know, John, a very important function of a goalkeeper is to transmit confidence to his defenders and all of the Tivoli to concede as well right before the halftime break. Waterhouse, they have been struggling for most of this first half. And Javane Bryan, his frustration boiling over as he now receives a yellow card as well.
And the referee also signaling for Tivoli's medical staff just to give some attention to Lewis. Tivoli Gardens somehow getting themselves back into this game despite for the first 10 to 15 looking second best to say the least, but due to some really cheap errors by Waterhouse, they started to really apply pressure and generate a number of chances, maybe not clear-cut ones, but they've been pressing relentlessly, especially in the middle of the park. And eventually, as we say in Jamaica, pressure does bust pipe. And eventually to Murillo, into the path of Davis, has a cross, but that's blocked. Another goal, and it's tapped home by Bryan. No, actually saved. What a cross from Davis, but Bryan unable to tap that home.
Yeah, such a magnitude of the attempt, such a magnitude of the opportunity. You surely felt that one was going to find the back of the net, especially when you saw that he was going to be met by the boot of Javane Bryan. And wow, that's another massive, massive chance for Waterhouse. this time to take the lead in this contest. And chances, they certainly haven't been at a premium in this game. They have been flowing. But luckily for Tivoli, it remains 1-1 after that next massive one.
A number of missed opportunities now for both teams, but especially Waterhouse. They'll be hoping they don't come to rue that one at the end of the game. And Amos boots that out of play, and that will be a throw into Tivoli. And with the form that Javane Bryan is in, given he scored in the last game, you'd have bet your life on him to put that in the back of the net. But here's Fuller. A swing at him there from Davis. He retains possession. Simpson. And a shot from distance, and Bernard deals with that one quite comfortably. And he throws it out for Thomas. Shot from Michael Graham there. Never really having enough power to really trouble Bernard.
Yeah, but you never know with the form that he has been in this first half. Always worth an attempt.
In fact, we could see more instructions to just test him from distance with a bit more regularity, especially in the second half, given the uncertainty surrounding his play at the moment. Now, we have a free kick for Waterhouse as we approach the end of the first half. Seems it'll be Thomas to take, but Campbell's also over it. Either way, likely to be a delivery looking for one of the teammates. Nelson just barking orders to the back line. And seems it will be Campbell to take. Dangerous one as well, but claimed by Clark. And into the path of Fuller, and dealt well there with by Martin Davis, who has been up and down on this wing, excelling both in attack and defense. Oh, wayward pass there. Put authority there. And that will be that for the first half. Score locked at 1-1 here. Of course, early in the game, Cardell Benbow scored from the spot after a rather controversial decision. Unsure whether or not it was a penalty from this angle, but eventually, because of a mistake really from the back line of Waterhouse, Tivoli Gardens equalized from the boot of Anthony Nelson. The J, your thoughts on the first half?
Yeah, it was a very enterprising one from both teams. Waterhouse started the game extremely well tactically, overloading this right-hand side against Tivoli. And it seemed as if they were going to run away with it at times during that first half, but Tivoli adjusted, and due to some shaky goalkeeping, I would say, from Akeem Bernard, and time again showing that he wasn't sure-footed in the goal. I think that lack of sure-footedness allowed Tivoli a way back into this game, a route back into this game, and then a whole host of set pieces as well also gave Tivoli that confidence, and in the end, that's what was a route back into the game. A mistake by Akeem Bernard, dispatched by Anthony Nelson, and Tivoli, their overall play, they certainly will be happy with it, especially for the last 30 minutes or so of that first half. But if the second half is anything like the first, we're certainly in store for what I would say is another classic between these two teams.
It's definitely been an entertaining one, and we'll be back with you, ladies and gentlemen, right after the break. Score remains Tivoli Gardens 1, Waterhouse 1.
Have more flavor, you don't know what you're missing. It tastes better, full of flavor in the kitchen. Better value, better taste, better chicken. CB chicken tastes way better. Air air chilled chicken. Taste way better. All your better taste better chicken. No antibiotic and hormone free. Have you tasted the new air chilled chicken? Or my chicken nut? CB chicken. It tastes way better.
I save from VM Building Society. Every deposit got me here. Every step forward put me in the driver's seat.
For everything you're looking forward to, open an iSave account today. Visit gotomyvm.com to get started.
Waterhouse shirt is available right here on sale. $8,000 to do anyone. Also the Waterhouse only sizes in medium and large available. You could also get your Waterhouse hat and your Waterhouse hat as well. Just $8,000. So, Mr. Ben Gregor, welcome to the Waterhouse Mini Stadium. He comes from the organization called Kickoff. Calling fire, not seeing you at the moment. You're needed on the field at the moment. Fire, you're needed right now. Still calling fire. Fire, are you here? Can I find you?
Cinnamon, I'm sure represent for the baddest. DJ Shooter. Let's go. Cinnamon, represent for the baddest. DJ Shooter. Let's go.
A CB chicken.
substitution coming up for Waterhouse, number 40. Akeem Bernard is replaced by number 80, Roger Williams. And number 14, Martin Davis, is replaced by number 11, Johnny Thompson.
Welcome again, ladies and gentlemen, to live coverage here at the Jules Mini Stadium of the Jamaican Premier League, the Rain Navy Jamaican Premier League, for this game tonight between Waterhouse, the hosts, and Tivoli Gardens. The scoreline is still remaining 1-1, and in fact, the man probably at fault for it being 1-1, which is Akeem Bernard, the goalkeeper of Waterhouse. He's been replaced at the interim by Roger Williams, who, of course, as some of you may know, suffered an unfortunate incident last year when he was still the goalkeeper of Arnett Gardens. But also, in a surprise move, Waterhouse, for some reason, have also replaced Martin Davis, who, for my money, was arguably the best player in the half, and he's been replaced by Johnny Thompson.
Yeah, I think that change is just strictly with defense in mind. Johnny Thompson, a much more natural wing-back. Therefore, they're hoping he will provide a little more security against the threat of Nikolai Fuller down that left-hand side for Tivoli Gardens. So, a host of changes for Waterhouse. Interesting one in goal. Not often, no matter how badly you see a keeper performing, you're not quite used to seeing them being sub.
Cross wayward, and Amos can clear here. Gets into the path of Thomas, but it's taken away by Janoy Williams. And that's cleared by Waterhouse. There's Michael Graham on the ball. To Janoy Williams. Out wide to Watson. Graham. Flicked on by Henry. Oh, lovely play here by Tivoli Gardens. Can they make it count? No, they can't. And the play will resume, will restart rather, with Lewis. Now here's Garnett. Switches the play out wide, looking for Watson. Finds him. And there's Henry. Trying to beat Amos for pace, but Amos does well there. He's been pretty good tonight, wherever he's popped up in terms of his defensive duties.
Yeah, apart from that one small error for the goal. Such a cruel world of a defender, but stuck to his task well there. Tivoli still with so much momentum at the start of the second half.
Cross comes in there from Lewis, and Williams with his first real meaningful action of the game. Good catch there, but the distribution quite shoddy, and oh, a terrible pass from Simpson. Apologies to his teammate there. And that will be a throw-in for Waterhouse, who, have to say, got away with one there after some poor distribution by Williams. And as you mentioned, Lajay, I have to say it's a rather strange move. Usually whenever you see a goalkeeper go out, it's typically for injury, but this time it's really just been because of a poor performance all around from Bernard, one which has cost Waterhouse the lead here. Now it's Garnett to Henry, who under some pressure retains possession but eventually loses it. And now they can come clear with Javane Bryan, aiming for Barrow, but early on in this second half. It's been quite end-to-end so far, and Tivoli have a chance now to formulate an attack, but up to boot it downfield. And the referee blows for the foul there after the push in the back in that aerial duel on Simpson, and Tivoli can restart with Fuller here.
Yeah, they've really thrown Johnny Thompson into the frying pan against one of, if not the best, winger in the Jamaica Premier League.
Oh, lovely bit of skill there from Fuller to flick it over his defender's head. Gets it back and wins the throw.
Yeah, going to be a really difficult task for the young man, Johnny Thompson. Started for Jamaica College from multiple schoolboy football seasons. Moved over in the January transfer window, did Johnny Thompson to Waterhouse. Looking to further his footballing education here. No long throw as it goes to Alton Lewis.
It's cleared by Roger Williams. And referee blows. And referee O'Shea Nation blows for the infringement, and that will be a foul the way of Waterhouse. Full, as you mentioned, could possibly give Thompson a torrid time of things, but yet to get on the score sheet here today. Of course, not primarily a goal scorer, but we know he has moments of magic in him. And now it's Nelson on the ball, the goal scorer for Tivoli tonight. Into the path of Graham. Can whip one in, but that is batted away by the goalkeeper, Roger Williams, and that will be a corner kick to Tivoli.
Yeah, it seems as if it took a deflection on the way through. These set pieces have been quite fruitful for Tivoli in terms of creating chances. Can they find a goal out of one?
Fuller to take. Comes in, beautiful corner, but no one able to meet it, and that's cleared by Williams. Controlled at the second time of asking, got the pass into Fuller, whose pass was blocked there. And despite the protest, there is no foul, but there will be a throw-in to Tivoli. Watson will come over on this right-hand side to take. Henry, good touch, gets away from his man. Janoy Williams to Watson. Lovely football here from Tivoli. But they eventually lose it and win it back. Here's Garnett. Lewis opens up his body, turns, and finds his goalkeeper, Nicholas Clark. The greatest of controls, but finds his man down the channel. Here is Nelson. 1v1 with Amos. Finds Graham. Touches inside, and that's blocked by Leacock.
And now it's Anthony Nelson who's clutching his hamstring for Tivoli.
We've already seen one goal scorer exit the game early in the first half, Cardell Bembo, and now we hopefully won't see another. But Nelson most definitely is in pain on the ground here.
It would be a pretty similar injury as well. The two players.
Tivoli just getting a chance to just regroup here, but they have looked the better of the two teams so far in the early stages of the second half.
And for most of the game as well, I would say, apart from the first 10 to 15 minutes where Waterhouse certainly were the dominant unit, Tivoli, they are the team that have made the adjustments and have certainly caused the most issues in this game. Tivoli already have a bit of an injury bug in their squad. Mentioned Barrington Price earlier, their leader at the back, Trevon McCain, also out. So not quite as strong a bench as they would like, but still so much quality. You see Justin Dunn warming up. So too Radico Wellington. So a lot of quality on that Tivoli bench nonetheless. But of course they wouldn't want to lose their top scorer from last season in Anthony Nelson.
In fact, I believe he's also level in terms of goals this season with Fuller as their top scorer this season as well, with that goal in the first half. And Williams is back to his feet and should be able to resume play shortly when the Waterhouse players return to the field. And referee O'Shea Nation will make sure of that.
It does seem as if that Anthony Nelson will be able to continue in this game. Waterhouse just got another round of instructions their way as they look to build up from the back once more. For my money, there hasn't been quite enough connectivity I would say after the first 10 to 15 minutes for Waterhouse, between their defensive line and their midfield area, it's been a man-marking job by Tivoli, but Waterhouse haven't been able to quite find those passes, those intermediate passes, as they're doing now with some space to attack.
Lika can drive at them here to Captain Kimani Campbell. Square comes in, ball towards Thompson, but unable to trap it, and that goes out for a throw-in. A missed opportunity there, really.
Yeah, for the first time in quite some time, they were afforded space as Tivoli became a little bit over-exuberant in their press. All pressure going towards the goalkeeper, and they left quite a few Waterhouse bodies in between the lines. Fortunately for Tivoli and unfortunately for Waterhouse, the home team couldn't capitalize.
Campbell on the ball again. Oh, not makes his defender, brought to ground, but no foul, says the referee, and now it's Nelson on the counter. He has Fuller in support. Opts to use him down this right-hand side. Oh, and he trips over his own feet. But the referee, yes, the referee does agree with my sentiment. I thought for a second he was about to give him a free kick. Inexplicably so it would have been. But Fuller in the process, I hope he's not hurt himself. And he returns to his feet regardless of the discomfort, and Roger Williams will boot this one clear. I think they're a bit given a bit of PTSD or trauma from the fact that Akeem Bernard's decision making at the back was quite shoddy at times in the first half, so they're opting not to really go the short passing route at all in this second half. Waterhouse. Nelson trying to chase that down, but this time Roger Williams gets there and very nearly thought that clearance was about to come over to the commentators section. Thankfully for us it didn't. And the throw will be to Waterhouse. And Brian trying to control it, being held there in the box by Janoy Williams, but no foul. Leacock loses the ball after being surrounded by 3 Tivoli Garden bodies. Watson to Nelson, trying to get it past Amos, who's defended quite valiantly here, and Nelson signaling a change, and it seems our fears have come true. Both goal scorers will be substituted due to injury.
Yeah, very similar injury also. Hamstrings. Proving the bane of both of the goal scorers here. Was treated for that same injury not too long ago, but seems as if he was trying to run it off, could not. Unfortunately for Tivoli and unfortunately for Anthony Nelson, there will be a change that has to be made.
Wellington still awaiting his okay to come onto the pitch.
So Tivoli will be, or at least I thought they would be operating with 10 men. Maradico Wellington is now in. So Anthony Nelson leaving the pitch for Maradico Wellington.
Substitution completed in the 60th minute.
And there we just have confirmation of that change, and play resumes. Ball was booted there high, but never really going to find a teammate there, and that's easily into the arms of Roger Williams. Smartly gets it out to Dyer. Trying to find Barrow. Being held all the way through there, but eventually finds Thompson. Trying to find Brian, but unable to. And now here's Graham. Heads it on for Henry. Had the run of Wellington, opted not to use him. Finds Fuller instead on that left-hand side. And the touch by Barrow, not the greatest. Now here's Thomas. His first touch also letting him down.
Not often we say that. And then Fuller slips as he tries to evade a couple of markers down that left-hand side. You know, I think, John, that maybe a possible change for Waterhouse could be, albeit I think it might be deemed a negative one initially. I think they've lost a lot of connectivity between the thirds, between their phases of play. I'll get back onto that as Shaquille Henry produces a lovely first touch. Michael Graham not the same, but he does retain possession, at least temporarily, as Amos does well to shepherd this one out of play. But I was saying that for this Waterhouse team, they are using a lot of aspects of positional play where they want to have players in those half space areas, in those pockets. However, one of those players operating is one of their strikers, more than likely Javane Bryan at this current moment, who's operating, I would say, in that left-hand pocket. So down this left-hand side where you do have the danger of Kimani Campbell overlapping and holding the width, there's just no connectivity in that area because of the position of Javane Bryan. So I think maybe introducing another natural attacking midfielder or a player who's more comfortable in those pockets really could be a plus for Waterhouse. So albeit they would be taking off a proven goal scorer in either Barrow or Javane Bryan, I do think that having that extra retention and connectivity in that area certainly could be a big plus for them, especially with players such as Ajuma Johnson on the bench, Rivaldo Mitchell on the bench. Mario Sims also could do that job there. So they do have options to change the game in that regard. It's just whether or not they're going to be brave enough to do it, the Waterhouse coaching staff.
Of course, that decision is up to Javier Einstein, coach of Waterhouse, but it's definitely something to consider given the lack of control in that middle of the park. And Campbell, despite being shoved and pushed, still retained the possession, but eventually was fouled, and the referee O'Shane Nation gives a yellow card to Denville Watson, and the skipper is still on the ground.
14, Denville Watson received a yellow card in the 63rd minute.
The confirmation of that decision has just been signaled by the, well, announced really by the PA system, over the PA system. And he'll be getting some medical attention. Campbell expressing his frustration at the tackle there, almost lashing out at Radico Wellington. And you know, as you mentioned, Leger, the lack of connectivity in the middle of the park, I thought Denardo Thomas was the one who was going to be providing that outlet there, but it seems he's been venturing a bit further forward than we typically see, not really able to provide the control in the middle of the park that we so often see from the link up between him and players like Leacock. Very comfortable on the ball, but harried off it really for much of this game.
Yeah, apart from a couple of spurts where he was driving with the ball centrally, since moving more forward after Benbow had been taken off, hasn't quite gotten the opportunity because he has to start so high, staying on that last line of Tivoli. So I think they're taking away a lot of what makes him such a dangerous player, Denardo Thomas, and that's his ball carrying.
But he has a chance here to make an impact on the game from this set piece. Although it seems Kimani Campbell's also in the running to take this free kick. And the referee just urging Lewis and Amos to shake hands there to signal that there is no beef. And referee just giving his okay for the free kick to be taken now. And it will be Thomas to take. Oh, trying to cheekily find Campbell from the set play, but not able to there on that occasion. Not been the greatest of nights for him. It seems even Superman has his off nights. And Fuller loses out there to Thompson. Simpson loses the ball there, and a lovely pass from Leacock, but an even better interception there from Kavan. It's cleared downfield by Wilson, but only as far as Dyer now. Campbell has space, lovely pass to Javane Bryan, Back to Campbell, and that's cleared. Looked for all the world that he was going to have a shot on goal there, but not able to, couldn't put it under his spell. And he gets past Amos there, Michael Graham. Finds Henry. Turns and finds Simpson. Graham under pressure, loses the ball there. Now Denardo Thomas can come clear. Can he provide some sort of spark to this Waterhouse attack? Step over, cuts inside, crosses towards Brian, and that's headed away by Watson.
Yeah, well tracked by Watson. Excellent defending. And for the first time in quite some time, Captain Keano Simpson for Tivoli Gardens was caught up the pitch, allowed Denardo Thomas some space to drive into, and the danger ensued. Did have an option of Murillo arriving late atop the box. Didn't take it, and in the end, it was clever and good defending by Tivoli, but they couldn't prevent this corner kick that's coming up from Denardo Thomas, which he takes short.
That's booted clear. And I think, Leje, that if Waterhouse are to claim all 3 points, that will be a big point of emphasis in terms of how they got that chance, and that will be quick chances created in transition. There's Amos trying to burrow his way through 3 defenders, but eventually wins a throw-in. He's been a standout player tonight for Waterhouse, as you mentioned before. Did have a part to play in them conceding that goal, but aside from that, he's been fantastic. And now it's Brian to Thomas, who has space, has a crack, and much to the displeasure of everyone around us, boots that over the bar. Really should have at least hit the target.
Yeah, took his time over that opportunity. It seemed as if he settled well, but once it fell to him, as he struck it, didn't quite get his body over the ball whatsoever, leading to that miscued strike, and I'm sure he would love that one again.
Waterhouse not started the second half as great as they would have wanted, but they're starting to coming to their own now and just going to have to make the most of the chances that they're currently getting. But now here's Watson trying to play it over for Rodico Wellington, and that's booted clear. Ooh, almost a high boot from Leacock, almost a dangerous play there, but Garnett wins it, loses it rather, to Amos. Down the line to Bren. Holds up the play and is fouled. Good old-fashioned centre-forward play there by Javane Bryan. Murillo trying to find Thomas, and he does, and now he's out wide on that right-hand side, cuts inside, looks for, it seems that was Barrow, but he was unable to take that under his control, and he eventually fouls Janoy Williams, it seems, and that will be a foul to Tivoli. Michael Graham just venturing a bit further forward on that right-hand side, trying to provide some level of width, but
Time for Amos to deal with. Time for Amos to deal with, but he has been dealing with it to a really high standard as Rivaldo Mitchell is being prepared to come on for Waterhouse.
Seems he'll be going for a long throw here, Watson. And despite the shouts of the goalkeeper to leave it, it almost resulted in a header towards his goal, but he got back in time to save that, and quite comfortably as well. But it also seems in the process that Tivoli Gardens player is down on the field, and the substitution here will be made. Rivaldo Mitchell, as you mentioned before, coming on for Barrow, and it seems they've taken your well, not your prediction, but your suggestion to heart, and it is indeed one of their forwards who has made way.
Replaced by number 77, Rivaldo Mitchell. Substitution completed in the
Seems that Tivoli Garden player is in some distress.
Yeah, it looks as if it is Janoy Williams down in the box for Tivoli.
quite a number of unfortunate muscle-related injuries, but this one seems to have been a blow to the head, and of course, we know the protocol surrounding those type of injuries, so play had to be stopped. But it seems he'll be okay and he's back to his feet. But of course, he'll have to wait just a moment before rejoining us on the pitch. Also seems that down on the opposite end is Nicholas Clark, the goalkeeper for Tivoli. Just some chance for both teams to regroup and rethink their tactical strategies. Score still locked at 1-1 here. Must say it's been an enthralling game. The action, the drama, even the goal scorers being substituted due to injury. Of course, that's not the type of drama we wish for here in the Jamaican Premier League, but nevertheless, it's been an entertaining clash. As both teams still vying for the winner in this one. Of course, just a reminder that this is the last game in the Sunday night slate that has featured several games. Of course, as I mentioned before, Spanish Town pulled off a shock result, beating Harbourview 1-0, Chapelton 1-2-0 against Treasure Beach, Moulines succumbing to a late winner from Racing United to lose 1-0, and Mount Pleasant, of course, despite Dumper holding quite easily 4-0. Montego United continuing their run at the top of the table with a 1-0 win over Cavalier, but here play resumes with Leacock back to Amos, standout player so far, Williams.
Quite strange, actually, as I was suggesting that maybe Waterhouse take off one of their centre forwards. I was suggesting that maybe one of the players that has come on, Rivaldo Mitchell, would occupy those spaces in the pockets, but they've actually subbed him on and he's operating centrally in between Denardo Thomas and Javane Bryan, who's still operating in that left-hand pocket. So, interesting change. Clearly, they have Javane Bryan operating there for a reason. Not quite sure the reason, but let's see if it will pay dividends.
Thompson does win a free kick. Seems to have been a handball there. And a free kick on that right-hand side of the pitch there, which Kimani Campbell, of course, will go over to take. And the fans behind us seem certain that this will be a goal. And they'll be hoping that this one can go a long way towards extending that 5-game unbeaten run, 5-game win streak really that Waterhouse have going on. Campbell to take. Referee O'Shane Nation just looking to see whether everything's okay for this free kick to go ahead. He gives the okay. Actually, he calls over Simpson, as well as Worrell. A lot of commentation for referee O'Shane Nation in regards to the level of control he's exercising over this game. Just been expertly making sure not to allow this game to boil over into anything malicious in regards to the tackles or words being used by the players. Of course, discipline is paramount to the success of any athlete, not just your talent. Free kick to come in now from Campbell. Lovely one actually, and that's headed away. And that's put back into the mixer by Leacock, but high and wide. Not able to find a teammate. That'll be a goal kick to Tivoli Gardens.
Yeah, unfortunately there for Leacock, didn't quite settle for him as that shot came down.
Now here's Brian, heads it back to Leacock. Under pressure from two defenders, loses out to Graham, but Amos again on hand to boot that clear for Waterhouse. And now it's Tivoli Gardens on the ball. John Oy Williams skips away from Campbell. And booted clear there, a bit unnecessarily by Kevon Williams, I should say. And there's Brian, trying to turn to beat Kevon Wilson, but ends up earning a throw instead. Amos. Oh, good turn there by Mitchell. Oh, lovely pass to Brian. Back to Campbell. Cross comes in, looking for Thomas, but that is headed away by Keno Simpson. And he's been brought down in the process, and that will be a free kick to Tivoli.
A fantastically brave decision to get his head on that one, Keno Simpson. That's what captains are for, leading by example, and that was a fantastic defensive header. Tivoli preparing a couple of changes. I believe that's Howard Morris and Steve Clark being prepared. Michael Graham, one of the players making their way off. Yeah, that is for Steve Clark. And the second change, I believe it will be Howard Morris coming on for Shaquille Henry. Howard Morris, of course, spent some time here at Waterhouse. Moved in the January window of last season, I believe, and stayed till this January window where he went back to Tivoli Gardens, where he has spent most of his formative years. I'm sure he'll be extremely eager to net against his former employers, or at least create a big opening.
Booted downfield by Lewis, looking for Wellington. Wins the header, but not able to find a teammate. That's headed clear by Williams. Howard Morris, of course, losing out on that header there. Aerial duels are not his specialty for sure, due to that diminutive stature. But here's Morris on the ball. His first action of the game. Lovely turn by Morris, using his deceptively strong frame to retain position. Now here's Watson out wide on the right hand side, trying to feed Steve Clark for his first action of the game, but unable to find him. And here's Wellington, but seems Morris, despite his protest, has brought down Leacock, and that will be a foul to Waterhouse. Amos trying to find Rivaldo Mitchell, but not the most accurate of passes, but the clearance wasn't great either. And now here's Thomas. Mitchell. Pump fakes there, trying to slip that one through for the Johnny Thompson, but unable to on that occasion. And here's Thompson again, trying for the reverse pass to Thomas, but that goes all the way through to Nicholas Clark, and that will be another failed attempt of an attack there for Tivoli, for Waterhouse rather. Game just petering out a bit. Seems a number of those changes, as well as the going to ground tactically, has taken a sting out of what was a enthralling game up to this point. But now here's Morris, could ignite something here. Here's Watson. Oh, lovely pass around the corner from Fuller, but Watson unable to take it, and that will be a throw-in back to Tivoli.
Both teams, I'm sure, still on their last legs, but still plugging away to trying to find a winner in this game.
And there'll be another throw into Tivoli. And Watson he himself is feeling the strain here. Helped to his feet by Clark, but definitely seems he's a bit shaken up. Perhaps again for another one of those long throws, but that's headed by Amos into the path of Roger Williams. Looking for Thomas, and it's not beyond him. He's gotten it, and Waterhouse can have a counter attack here. Thomas settles the play. Oh, good pass for Leacock. Can cross it here. Instead he turns back, finds Thomas again. Trying to feed Rivaldo Mitchell there, but on that occasion not successful. But out wide now with Thompson. Cross. Looking for Javane Bryan, unable to find him. That's cleared by Nicole Fuller. Ooh, that's a foul there by Clark, and seems it will be a free kick in an area where Waterhouse could potentially hurt Tivoli. Of course, not long to go in this one.
And I think that really exemplifies the odd nature of that tactical switch by Waterhouse, because it was Javane Bryan winning that foul deep on that left-hand side. Other attackers, they're the ones honing in those central areas, but I assume that's where you would want your central striker to play. But Waterhouse going against type, but still trying to find ways to pick this Tivoli lock once more.
There's Bryan.
Looks as if he got a blow to his face here, Nikolai Fuller. There's very little time remains in this contest. Can a set piece be the differentiating factor between the two teams? Waterhouse preparing Alexander Bicknell, it seems as if, as their last change. As Nikolai Fuller prepares to take this free kick.
Of course, goes without saying. Until given his talent. action up front.
Substitution coming up for Waterhouse, number 21, Moman Lee Cock, is replaced by number 5, Alexander Bennett. Substitution completed in the 87th minute.
It almost seems as if this game is destined to finish in a draw at this point. Both teams missing chances, both teams toiling away in this second half. To no avail thus far. A draw would see Waterhouse go back into the top 6, climbing above Tivoli Gardens on 31 points to their 30. Tivoli would still find themselves 2 points away from the coveted top 6. It's a real scrap in there for that playoff place. As a matter of fact, currently only 4 points separates 5th to 9th place. Chapelton moving into 5th position after their victory earlier today. A 1-0 one against Treasure Beach. Actually was a 2-0 victory, I beg your pardon.
Steve Clark seems to have acres of space, similar to how Martin Davis did in the first half on the right-hand side, and he's actually coming a bit narrow now, given that he didn't receive the ball in time. Lack of vision has been startling from some of the players on show. And Waterhouse will be looking to push forward here, see if they can do anything with this free kick. Denardo Thomas over. Waterhouse not able as yet to find a goal here, and as you mentioned, the pass finds Garnett, trying to find Wellington but blocked out wide to Watson. Not the best of first touch, and that will go out for a throw-in.
We will be having 5 extra minutes in this game as this cross comes in. Johnny Thompson did excellently there to recover after his initial slip in the penalty area. And that's going to be another foul. Howard Morris this time getting a blow in the face as Murillo is yellow carded. And yet another chance for Nikolai Fuller to whip across into the box.
One of the last remaining chances in this game to somehow salvage all 3 points, claim all 3 points. Fuller, if there's anyone who can provide that sort of a spark, it's him. Free kick. No one trying to find Wellington, but most definitely was a planned but poorly executed set piece there. And that would be a goal kick, which Jay Williams will take. At least give the players in the box a chance. That's what I'd have thought. But nevertheless, things don't always go as you plan them in your head. Booted downfield towards Brian. Here's Campbell trying to shield it, but opted for the overhead kick pass. Here's Wellington. Not the best first touch there, and that will go out for a throw in to Waterhouse. Amos looking for Mitchell. That's headed away. And they lose it again, but Steve Clark reclaims possession. Janoy Williams loses it a bit in the middle of the park. Mitchell dancing, but dancing his way into pressure and loses the ball to Tivoli. And that will be a foul following the tackle there by the skipper Campbell on Williams. Just a few remaining seconds in this one. And I have to say it's been a disappointing second half considering the level of enjoyment I think we'd have had in the opening stages of the first half. A very different game to the one that we perhaps thought we were getting.
Yeah, certainly not quite as many gilt-edged chances like what we would have seen in the first half, but generally just the state of play, it hasn't quite been as slick, and that is to be expected somewhat considering the level of energy that we would have seen both teams expend in that first half. It was always going to be difficult to maintain such a level of intensity, but nonetheless I'm still sure both managers, both coaching staffs, both sets of players will be disappointed. We haven't seen a winner. There was almost a chance there, but it was sorted out by Keno Simpson in the end. But he gives it up once more.
He had a shot there, but off target by Mario, I believe, and Valdo Mitchell expressing his frustration, and Javane Bryan just telling him to calm down, getting a bit heated between the Waterhouse players, which understandable given their lack of a winner at the moment.
We need it, Capo. 10 games straight. We need it, Capo.
And Tivoli have a player down.
Yes, Mama. Yes,
A
Mama.
common occurrence so far in this game, not just for Tivoli but for both teams really. Of course, for those who don't know, perhaps joined late, both goal scorers, Cardell Bembo, who scored from the spot early in for Waterhouse, as well as Anthony Nelson, who equalized for Tivoli, went down with injuries and had to be substituted. And since then, a host of muscle problems have plagued some of the players. And I suppose we should be well beyond the 5 minutes that we're given. Play still continuing here. I have a feeling that both teams will be content at this point with just a point, given the way the game's shaped out. And headed out of play by Thomas. And the referee, O'Shea Nation, blows for full time.
O'Shea Nation has brought this game to a end. It has ended Waterhouse 1, Tivoli 1. And tomorrow night's Monday night fixture, it will be the home team, Tivoli Gardens, taking on Portmore United. A safe travel home.
Yeah, it was an enthralling game, at least in the first half. We expected a competitive one. We expected one that wouldn't have a barrel load of goals despite the number of chances we would have seen in the first half. Unfortunately, it has led out to be a draw, I would say, from a Tivoli perspective. Waterhouse, they I think are a little bit more pleased with that draw. It moves them back into the top 6. Another game undefeated as well. Now it's 4 games on the trot for Tivoli without a win, but for Waterhouse, it's 5 games on the trot now without defeat. They are building some momentum. 6 games as a matter of fact. They are building momentum. They are playing some good football in patches. I think it's all about getting everything together on a consistent basis, and I think they'll feel that they are on the way to doing that as the business end of the season approaches.
Most definitely. Of course, you play the game to win, but the next best thing is a draw, and Waterhouse will be pleased with just that. Both teams this season have struggled for goals compared to their contemporaries, but they found a way to get some here. But nevertheless, a 1-0 draw is the final result, and for those just joining or weren't able to see the game for most of it, score sheet was opened by Cardell Penpo from the penalty spot early in the first half after a dubious penalty call, really. Martin Davis causing some problems on that right-hand side. for Waterhouse before he was substituted at the interim. And then later on, due to a mistake, a costly one really, from Hakeem Bernard, who was eventually substituted due to his poor play, led to a goal from Anthony Nelson, who has moved level with Nick Hoyle Fuller in terms of top scorers for Tivoli. But that's the end of it, folks. Thank you for joining us tonight at the Ray Neville Jamaican Premier League. The score is Waterhouse 1, Tivoli Gardens 1.
A CB chicken, a better way. Introducing air chill chicken. It have more flavor, you don't know what you're missing. It tastes better, full of flavor in the kitchen. Better value, better taste, better chicken. CB chicken, tastes way better. Air chilled chicken, taste way better. Better value, better taste, better chicken. No antibiotic and hormone free. Have you tasted the new air chilled chicken? Or my chicken nut? CB chicken, it tastes way better.
I save from VM Building Society. Every deposit got me here. Every step forward put me in the driver's seat.
For everything you're looking forward to, open an iSave account today. Visit gotomyvm.com to get started.
We are ready for the we are doing. What do you think we are trying to do, MG? The man is gone in because war going on this a while ago. MG, as the Sean said, set up so that them don't come. Now we never set up, so we have it set up just in case them. Them gone do it, that's what they gone to do. I call him and relax, man. I tell him man, I call him and relax. Yeah, just relax. Relax. Alright, Sean, have a link to. That way they look wide. Come on. This boy, hey. So this way. Jordan, you make me nervous, yeah? Let me win. Sharp, she's a free match. Hey, somebody touch that. Somebody touch that. Somebody just touch the mic. Just touch the mic. Good? Yeah, man, you're good. Mic. Hey. Go in front of the mic. Go in front of the mic and do a mic test.
MG. On. 1. MG. 1. 2, 3, 4, 5. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3.
Up this. You don't know what you're doing? It's a youngster in the business. Hey, look and learn. No, I say, look and learn. Because if he's not here, him still have got to do the work. Night, sir. Freeze. You have to talk up. I don't know him going here. You know, say that. That may I explain to you. Well, it was that bad game. We start pretty much as a result. In defense.